Holly here from Your Past is a Gift. Alright, so moving on from the previous video, we talked about how I went through school and I couldn't make friends. I couldn't connect to anyone at school. And the truth of it was, now I didn't go into the topic very much, but the truth of it was when I tried to make friends with some of the girls at school, they were always gossiping about the other girls. You know, they're always putting down the other girls and criticizing them, you know, about how, you know, if they were different in any way, like if they were overweight or if they're different skin color or if they were, you know, this was always going on. And I thought to myself, at the time, mind you, I was a child, I think with the first one would have been about 7 or 8 years old. I thought to myself, that's not right, you know, especially because I was growing up in the Catholic religion and at church, you know, they're always talking about, you know, look at the log in your own eye before you look at the splinter in someone else's eye. You know, that it's not nice to be judging other people when we've got our own issues, you know, to worry about. You know, you're not perfect either, basically was what that expression was about. So, you know, who are you to judge, you know, someone else for not being perfect, you know, whatever that word means, perfect, but, you know, in a human being. But, you know, I tried, you know, but very rarely did they do things that were just fun, you know, or goofy or, you know, kid things. I was used to spending the weekends with my cousins and we just played. We had so much fun together. You know, it was all about getting as much fun out of that day as we could. And so I knew there was a different way of being a kid that wasn't just standing there and criticizing all the other kids that were different in some way. I knew this in my heart. I knew that this was not, it wasn't going to bring any joy. It wasn't going to bring any real meaning to me as a person. And it kind of went against what my religion was teaching me. So I thought, well, God doesn't approve of that. You know, in my mind, this is what I used to think. God doesn't approve of that behavior. So I should not be a part of it because I couldn't convince them to not do it. So that was the truth of it. I couldn't stand to be around people that were constantly criticizing and putting others down. I just couldn't do it. Because I kept thinking the same, well, you're not perfect. What gives you the right to judge, right? Because this is what we were taught at church. Only God was perfect. Only He could judge, you know? So I'd already grown up with these thoughts. I'd spent many, many Sundays at church, you know, with the Catholic religion. And that was one good thing that came out of church. You know, I really loved that, you know, we don't have the right to judge others. You know, we have our own issues. How about we deal with that first? You know, because we're not perfect either. We make mistakes, you know. So, but still, you know, judging someone because of their skin color is not a mistake. They haven't made a mistake. That's just who they are. Again, in my mind, that made no sense. You know, why is that wrong? Because they're not the same color as you, you know, or whatever it was that they were criticizing someone else because of something they wore or, you know, just silly things. To me, these were silly things that meant nothing. In the grand scheme of things, they meant nothing. You know, they weren't important, they weren't helpful to anyone, you know, so I just didn't see the point of pursuing that sort of friendship because I knew, you know, on weekends when I had my cousins, I knew that there was something else. I just knew it in my heart. It existed because I had it, you know. And what happened was later, going into high school, I met these wonderful, wonderful girls with all the same background as I had. You know, I don't know what their primary school years were like, but from the moment we met in class, from that moment we met and we knew, you know, we had so much in common and we had the same relationship. We would talk to each other. Sometimes we talked to each other about our own problems. You know, if we were struggling at home with one of our parents and we had these issues, we would talk about these things with our friends. And they would listen. They never judged, you know, oh, your mum, you know, she's awful. Or we never said those sorts of things to each other. We just listened because we couldn't judge it. And mind you, when I had these friends, you know, we were already in an all-girls Catholic school. So they knew the same as I did. You don't judge others because you're not perfect either, right? So we all had that mentality already. We already knew that. So, you know, I find it funny that Catholics can go out into the world and judge others when it's such a big thing that's taught at church. You're not perfect. You don't have the right to judge another human being. So, you know, I don't know where they seem to get off going out into the world thinking that they're better than others because they're Catholics. I don't get that. Okay, that's fine. If you're one of them, that's fine. But that's what I had all through high school, you know, halfway through high school. So at least for the first, I think it was 3 years, I had these girls, and I finally had something to look forward to when I went to school. You know, 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, I could look forward to connecting with them. And I felt seen, I felt heard, and I gave the same back to them. You know, to this day, I adore those girls. You know, we all have our own lives now, we all have our own kids, and life takes you into different directions, but not a day goes by, you know, that my heart doesn't fill with gratitude that I met them in my first few years of high school. And I knew there's others out there like me. I don't have to be alone at school. I knew I found them, you know. So I want you to think about that today. I want you to think about it. You don't have to be alone at school, and you don't have to be alone going through high school, no matter how different you are, because I was different. You know, I was very different. Trust me. You know, going through school. Through high school, it leveled out a little bit more because there were more immigrants coming through. So there were more people like me going into the high school by that stage, you know. But we're talking, how old was I then? I was 12 when I started high school, you know. So this is quite a bit later that I could connect, you know, on a level of we're all the same. You know, we can listen to each other and we can support each other, because that's what friendship is. It's not about standing around criticizing other people and looking what is, you know, what they're wearing or what they're not wearing, or what they're eating or not eating, or how they're different to you. You know, that is not friendship. Friendship is when you support each other, you make each other feel seen and heard and loved. You give each other your love, you know, because you appreciate who that other person is in your life. You look forward to seeing them every day. All right, my darling, so I want you to really think about that today. We're going to go more into this topic of being different in the next few videos, because everything out there points to you need to be the same as everyone else. You need to fit into this pigeonhole. Okay, and I'm here to help you get out of that pigeonhole, because you're not meant to fit in. You're not meant to be the same as anyone else. And you should have friends, you know, people in your life that help you see how special you really are. You know, help you see your gifts. It's really important. Help you feel that you're seen. Help you feel that you're heard. Help you feel that you're valuable. Because that's how I felt with my cousins, and how I felt with these friends in high school. We were so valuable to each other. You know? You deserve to have that too. You do. We all do. Okay, my darlings. Anyway, remember to click like and subscribe below so you don't miss any of the messages, because it might be, you know what, the most important one for you. Okay, it might help you shift how you're looking at the world right now. All right, my darlings. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye for now.